Welcome back to Read This Next with Laura and Nicole from the Thunder Bay Public Library. This week we are doing Asian authors in order to celebrate Asian Heritage Month, which is May. We are at the tail end of it, but it's
We're sneaking it in there.
yeah, we're sneaking it in there. And like next month, we're also going to be doing some highlighting of LGBTQ authors and Indigenous authors to celebrate those days as well. And yeah, we got some good ones. I'm excited.
We do. Well, we always do. That's what
Oh,
we
yeah.
do. We only recommend good books here.
Oh, yeah. Only.
Okay, so the first one, I'm going to start us off. This is a 3-book trilogy. And I actually, when I was looking it up, I found they did this sort of interesting thing where they released like all 3 books at once.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're into this series, basically, you can just like binge it right now. It's ready to go.
When did it come out?
2020.
Oh.
Yeah, I have heard of some. I've heard of a couple of like publishers trying this basically because they're trying to do like the binge model, like TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, I will say I heard a lot of like fuss about it when they first thought of doing it. And I don't think I've heard much about whether or not it was successful, which kind of suggests to me maybe it hasn't been.
Yeah, I wonder if they get more sales from like pre-ordering when you're like anticipating the next
That's a
one.
good maybe. I don't know. But I haven't heard of many other authors doing it. So perhaps it was just something they tried and didn't really work out. I think there's like a pretty big difference between devoting like a weekend and then for most people reading like 3 books all at once would be
A lot.
devoting like a month. I don't know.
Yeah, for some people that's yeah, for me that would probably be a weekend, like Friday finish
Yeah.
one, Saturday finish another, Sunday finish another. Done. But
Yeah.
for some people like Alex would take forever.
Most people do not read like you and I.
No. No.
So that's like a big time commitment. But anyway, that's the story with this book. That's all irrelevant, but just interesting background information about publishing that I'm sure everyone's really curious about. Okay, so now to the book itself. It's the Cass Russell series by S.L. Huang. And this first book is called Zero Sum Game. And this one is a sci-fi. So up my alley, thriller up my alley. A near future science fiction thriller. It introduces a math genius mercenary who finds herself being manipulated by someone possessing unimaginable power. I'm just laughing already because it's like, this doesn't seem like the most useful superpower I'm about to describe, but maybe it is. Okay, Cass Russell is good at math.
I wish I was.
There's more to it though. Scary good. The vector calculus blazing through her head lets her smash through armed men twice her size and dodge every bullet in a gunfight. I am so sorry, my cat is about to join us.
Yay! We get to hear Paddington and see your kitty.
Yeah, just like my kitty's like bum and tail apparently. Okay, anyway, sorry. So the vectus calculus blazing through her head lets her smash through armed men twice her size and dodge every bullet in a gunfight, and she'll take any job for the right price. As far as Cass knows, she's the only person around with a superpower until she discovered someone.
She wants to join.
Yeah, he's mad that I put him down. That's the problem there. Until she discovers someone with the power even more dangerous than her own. Oh no, more dangerous than really good at math. I don't mean to mock the plot, but it's a little funny. Okay, someone who can reach directly into people's minds and twist their brains into Mobius strips, someone intent on becoming the world's puppet master. That does sound like in the contest between that superpower and super good at math, I can't imagine which would succeed.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like statistics, like their like how baseball to hit a ball, you have to be like really fast and also like know the angles and all that stuff. Like is that how she's avoiding bullets and stuff like that?
I guess so. It's like that would also, I feel like then you would also need the superpower of moving really fast.
Yeah, and you'd be very lucky.
That too, which is also a superpower in sometimes. Anyway, and then Cass should run like she usually does. Last sentence. But for once she's involved, there's only one problem. She doesn't know which of her thoughts are her own anymore.
The
Because
math ones are
this
probably hers.
probably the math ones are probably hers.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if you have the like reading someone's mind, can't he just use Cass's superpower?
Because he would like feed her ideas.
Well, like he would be able to read her
Oh,
mind.
and her
So he'd be like,
superpower is
"Now I'm good at math."
mental, not. We're making this sound very silly, and I think it's
It
supposed to be.
sounds good.
I think it's supposed to be fun, like it is supposed to be like lighthearted, but it's very easy to
Yeah.
make it sound a little bit silly.
There's
Oh
so
my
many
goodness.
ways that it can go.
Here's
I
this cat.
am
Sorry, I'm gonna go put him outside.
That's fine.
1 second. Okay, so yeah, science fiction, thriller, superpowers. Sounds like fun. All 3 books are out. Yeah, sounds
It
like a great
sounds
time.
really good. I know we were making fun of it, but like I'm just so bad at math that I can only imagine the possibilities of like knowing math.
There's also like that also is a joke sort of about Captain America having to be really good at math, right? Because he's throwing and catching the shield. So that's all like vectors
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it's a legitimate superpower, but I really do feel like it would need to be partnered with super speed or something.
Mhm.
So maybe that just means I need to read it to find out how exactly that math
Report
superpower
back.
works and report back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
report
Yeah.
back to us. Okay.
Okay.
Our next one is Phoenix Extravagant by Yoonha Lee. Um, the description is, ooh, Genjebi isn't a fighter or a subversive. They just want to paint. One day they're jobless and desperate. The next, Jebi finds himself recruited into by the Ministry of Armor to paint the mystical sigils that animate the occupying government's automaton soldiers. But when Jebi discovers the depths of the Razanai government's horrifying crimes and the awful source of the magical pigments they use, they find they can no longer stay out of politics. What they can do is steal Orazi, the ministry's mighty dragon automaton, and find a way to fight.
Yeah.
Love that. That sounds so cool. Because, like, dragons, but then,
I
like,
know.
robot
Mechanical
dragons?
dragons?
Oh,
Yeah. Robot
amazing.
dragons.
And diverse.
And diverse. Yes, the main characters non-binary, goes by they them, as you can tell in the description.
Love that.
Yeah, I thought what a fun little crossover twist between your fantasy and my sci-fi
Absolutely.
references. I always am curious though in books with automans.
Automatons.
Oh my gosh. I just completely lost that word. It just
Automons.
completely left. I was going to call it like an automobile. Oh my
It's
God.
not the Ottoman Empire.
Okay, it's not that either. All right, robots. When I read about a book with robots, I always wonder how they are going to handle the like mental autonomy, if they are going to address that at all or not,
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, with a dragon, and I mean, how do you even begin to make the brain of a dragon if you were to like have it thinking? Like, we'll just
Right?
take a Komodo dragon, add a little
But
bit of
then
human in there.
you mix in a little bit of like loyalty from a dog,
Aww.
right?
Yeah.
The perfect pet.
The
Maybe.
perfect pet. Just you need to find it a home.
That's right. Well, I mean, if you could, if they were like robot dragons, you could make it any size you want, and then there you go.
I mean,
But
this image seems pretty big.
it does seem quite large. Yes, it does seem quite large. But yeah, I think that one might be a standalone. Does it say?
It doesn't say it's a series, so.
Yeah, I think that one's a standalone, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next one. Great title. We ride upon sticks. And
Okay.
yeah, and then the sticks on the cover, they look sort of like hockey sticks a little bit. And it's by Quan Berry. And the reason they look kind of like hockey sticks is because the book's about field hockey.
Ooh.
Ooh. Set in the coastal town of Danvers, Massachusetts, which in 1692 was Salem Village, site of the origins of the Salem witch trials. The story follows the Danvers High field hockey team as they discover that the dark impulses of their Salem forebears may be the key to a winning season, which seems like, using a big power for a thing that seems pretty little. But
Yeah.
yeah, okay, so here's the rest of the description. The 1989 Danvers Falcons are on an unaccountable winning streak. Quan Berry weaves together the individual and collective journeys of this enchanted team as they storm their way to the state championship. Helmed by good girl Captain Abby Putman, a descendant of the infamous Salem accuser Ann Putman, and her co-captain Jen Fiorenza, whose bleach blonde claw, it's in quotations, I don't actually know what that means, but okay. Beach blonde claw sees and knows all. The DHS Falcons prove to be as wily and original as their north of Boston ancestors, flaunting society's stale notions of femininity in order to find their glorious truth selves through the crucible of team sport.
Wow. You remember that book that was like witches or the scapegracers or whatever? It kind of
Yes.
reminds me of that, like high school witches that are
Yeah.
just using it for the most bizarre things. You're like,
I
we'll just win
mean,
sports. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's better than like, troubling consent, questionable love potions or whatever.
Yes.
Just play some sports.
We just want to win.
Good, good, clean fun. I mean, I have to imagine other things ensue as they, tend to do. There's quite a few books that are YA and adult probably that are like inspired by the Salem witch trials. That'd be a fun list sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there he goes. He wanted off. Now we'll see how he does. That's why my door is open so he can come and go. Because he was starting to cry when you were putting your kitty outside.
Yeah, that's fair. Our pets are needy,
They
but
are.
they're delightful.
Especially now that we're home all the time.
Yes, they're used to it, used to the company.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
our next one I think is pretty like high fantasy.
My
So
fave.
yeah.
Okay, this is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, and it is a series, the Drowning Empire series. Okay, the Empire's reign has lasted for decades, his mastery of bone shard magic powering the animal like constructs that maintain law and order, but now his rule is failing, and the revolution is sweeping. So sorry. And the Empire is. Where was I? Sweeping across the Empire's many islands. Lynn is the Emperor's daughter and spends her days trapped in a palace of locked doors and dark secrets. When her father refuses to recognize her as heir to the throne, she vows to prove her worth by mastering the forbidden art of bone shard magic. Yet such power carries a great cost, and when the revolution reaches the gates of the palace, Lynn must decide how far she's willing to go to claim her birthright and save her people. We're having a good episode. We're having dogs, cats.
Dogs, cats, lots of action happening. Yeah, sounds good. The cover, I will say, is pretty generic.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'm the one thing I'm confused about. So Lynn is the Emperor's daughter,
Yes.
and obviously her dad does bone shard magic.
Yes.
So he banned bone shard magic, and she can't. You know what I
Well,
mean?
well, maybe he banned it for everyone but himself,
Yeah, he's like only me.
Only me. Only
I'm
I
the
can
Emperor.
have this power.
Wow. Hmm. That one sounds very interesting. I always love when they have to go prove their worth because then they go find like mysterious other people who they end up either fighting or joining forces with, and then they prove their parents wrong. It's the
And
best.
the series is called Drowning Empire, which I mean, I don't really know what that has to do with this book, but perhaps the drowning part comes into play later. Maybe it's a metaphorical drowning. Who can
Maybe,
say?
maybe.
But
I mean, it is revolution, so who knows?
who knows? It is revolution and magic. So Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think the next one is actually me as well, so I'll just go
Oh,
into it. Or did you
it
have one you want to put in
I
there?
do have one. I'll jump to mine and then we'll go back to you.
Sounds good.
Okay. So this one, coincidentally, and I didn't do this on purpose, it just kind of happened, is another one with like superhero stuff.
Mm.
Didn't do it on purpose, but here we are. Okay. It's called We Could Be Heroes by Mike Chen, an extraordinary and emotional adventure about unlikely friends and the power of choosing who you want to be. Jamie woke up in an empty apartment with no memory and only a few clues to his identity, but with the ability to read and erase other people's memories, a power he uses to hold up banks, to buy coffee, cat food, and books.
Good for him.
Sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Zoe is also searching for her past and using her abilities of speed and strength to deliver fast food.
Love that.
And occasionally she'll put on a cool suit and beat up bad guys if she feels like it.
Very Spider-Man.
When the arch rivals meet in a memory loss support group, they realize the only way to reveal their hidden pasts might be through each other. As they uncover an ongoing threat, suddenly much more is at stake than their fragile friendship. With countless people at risk, Zoe and Jamie will have to recognize that sometimes being a hero starts with trusting someone else and yourself.
Aww. That one sounds good. Oh, the puppy kisses. Yeah, that one sounds really interesting. I like it throws back to that first one we talked about with the
It
math, but
does.
I mean, it just shows there's so many ways that the superpowers can go.
It's true. I appreciate that the the guy uses his superpowers to like hold up banks to get coffee and cat food. It's
Yeah.
like I'm just not really thinking big picture right now. So
Oh, wasn't there a book that we talked about one time where the girl could like talk to animals and instead
yes,
of like her dad was like robbing the people, but she was going in and like shaving mats off cats.
yes, that is very true. That's one of the ones that in when we do our flashback recap episode, that's one of the ones that I read.
No way! I
Way.
can't wait to hear about it.
It's so fun. Sounds like mystery and superpowers, and also I imagine funny. Sounds funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's some good stuff to check out there.
Mm-hmm. They all sound so good. Okay. Our next one is Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. And this is the same author who wrote Spin the Dawn, who I have talked about too many times, being like,
Well,
this
a
book is
couple
so
times.
amazing. So this one is a series as well, same title as the series, or as the book. Okay. Shiori, the only princess of Kyoto, has a secret. Forbidden magic runs through her veins. Normally, she conceals it well, but on the morning of her betrothal ceremony, Shiori loses control. At first, her mistake seems like a stroke of luck, forestalling the wedding she never wanted, but it also catches the attention of Rakama, her stepmother. Rakama has dark magic of her own, and she banishes the young princess, turning her brothers into cranes and warning Shiori that she must speak of it to no one, for with every word that escapes her lips, one of her brother dies. Okay. Penniless, voiceless, and alone, Shiori searches for her brothers and, on her journey, uncovers a conspiracy to overtake the throne. A conspiracy more twisted and deceitful, more cunning and complex than even Rakama's betrayal. Only Shiori can set the kingdom to rights, but to do so, she must place her trust in the very boy she fought so hard not to marry. And she must embrace the magic she's been taught all her life to contain, no matter what it cost her. That sounds up my alley. I can't wait to read about her trusting a boy that she never wanted to marry. It's
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah, it sounds like a interesting mix of some like Asian inspired fantasy, and then also ones that are I don't know if it's a Brothers Grimm story, but the one where the brothers are turned into swans, definitely some kind of European fantasy fairy tale. So kind of a mixing of cultures there,
Mm-hmm.
different ideas, which is fun. The cover is gorgeous.
Yes. I will say though, The
Say it.
description makes it sound like she uncovers the conspiracy, but I feel like her stepmother banishing her and then like also taking away her voice and turning her brothers into cranes is like a good enough hint that like something's going on.
Yeah, it's not really sneaky.
Yeah, and it uses the classic stepmother trope, so
It
like we
does.
know.
That's, yeah. I mean, you can't trust them.
No.
Sorry to any stepmothers.
if
Not all
you're in a
stepmothers.
if you're in a fairy tale,
Yes.
apparently you're bad.
Yeah.
Real life though,
Oh.
not the case. He's just laying down. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, sounds great. So you've got a nice mix here of fantasy and sci-fi and kind of epic scope and then more thrillery stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So our next one is called Hunted by the Sky by Tanaz Bathina. It's the first book in the Wrath of Embar series. And yeah, it's another one with a really gorgeous cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really nice. Okay. Gull has spent her life running. She has a star-shaped birthmark on her arm. And in the kingdom of Ambar, girls with such birthmarks have been disappearing for years.
Why? Let's
Sounds
find out.
bad. Gull's mark is what caused her parents' murder at the hand of King Lohar's ruthless soldiers and forced her into hiding to protect her own life. So, when a group of rebel women called the
Yes.
Sisters of the Golden Lotus rescue her, take her in, and train her in warrior magic, Gull wants only one thing: revenge. Cavis lives in the tenements, and he's just about ready to sign his life over to the king's army. His father is terminally ill, and Cavis will do anything to save him. But sparks fly when he meets a mysterious girl, Gull, in the capital's bazaar. And as the chemistry between them undeniably grows, he becomes entangled in a mission of vengeance and discovers a magic he never hoped to find, or sorry, never expected to find, probably hoped either. Dangerous
Wow.
circumstances have brought Gull and Cavis together at the King's Domain in Ambar Forge, a world with secrets deadlier than their own. Exploring identity, class struggles, and high stakes romance, Hunted by the Sky is a gripping adventure set in a world inspired by medieval India. Yeah, so that's Hunted by the Sky.
It
Sounds.
sounds good, as they all
It
have.
does. It
Gotta
does.
say, love girl gangs. Every
Mm-hmm.
time. Girl
Yeah,
gang.
I'm into it. Girl gang. You know, girls treating each other, training each other to be assassins and whatnot. Sounds great. Yeah, and this is actually a Canadian author.
Oh.
Um, yes, that's one part of her cultural background. And then also this one is marked as having the romantic style. So, big fantasy, lots going on, and the romance driving the story as well.
Once again, sounds up my alley. Love it. Can't wait to read it. Too many good ones. All right.
Yeah,
I think we will head into our Rex then because we're running out of time.
yes,
And I'll start because you just read.
that sounds good.
Okay. I am currently in the midst of reading. I'm doing an audiobook because with the dog, it's like impossible to find time to just like sit and read without him like chewing things. So
Sure.
I'm reading Star Daughter by Shweta Takyar, which is really good. The cover, gorgeous. I love it. So I'll read the description because I haven't read the entire thing, so I can't even tell you what it's about fully yet. If the night sky holds many secrets, it holds Sheetal mystery. Yeah, Sheetal Mystery's secret the closest. A secret that explains why her hair is the silver of starlight or why some nights the stars call Sheetal by name. Stars like her mother who returned to her place in the constellation Pushya years ago. Since that day, Sheetal has been forced to hide. But as her 17th birthday draws near, the pull from the sky is growing stronger, so strong that Sheetal loses control and a flare of starfire burns her human father, an injury only a star's blood can heal. A full star, sorry.
A full star.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's only a half star. Sheetal has only no choice but to answer the star song and descend to the sky. Now, this is where I haven't gotten yet. But
Okay.
her celestial family has summoned her for a reason to act as their human champion in a competition to decide the next ruling house of the heavens.
Okay.
Okay. Desperate to save her father, Sheetal agrees, but nothing could have prepared Sheetal to face the star's dark history or the forces that are working to shut the gate between the realms for good. So it's very good.
What sort of competition is it?
I don't know. She just got to like the star's
I
house or palace right
I
now.
hope it's a dance competition.
Really? Oh, I was thinking Hunger Games.
You were thinking Hunger Games, and I was thinking like Eurovision. It's like
Ooh. Oh, that would be really good too. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I w-
There's lots of different ways it could go.
it could. I will say so I was so listening to a book is totally different than reading it. Like I find reading, I can definitely bypass certain things that are in a book and like it doesn't even register that that's like kind of cliche in my brain. But the author writes in a very romantic way, but it's also kind of passive. So if that's not your thing, don't read it because like this guy offers her a piece of food and she's like she writes she tells mouth um salivated at the scent of the uneaten food. And I was like, that just sounds weird to me. Like the way that that was phrased, like I would have said like her mouth watered at that smell or like but it's like at the uneaten whatever. So it is very romantic and very flowery language, which is good, but hearing someone else read it out loud to you is a little strange.
So it sounds at first when you said romantic, I thought you meant like ooh, romantic feelings, but no,
No,
you
like
mean like
over the
elegant, flowery.
yes. Yeah.
It sounds like a um the narration is the narration is more there's more of a distance in the narration
Mhm.
than in some stories.
Yeah, it's very yeah, I don't know how better to describe it than say like they're using a passive tone, which is fine, but it is more noticeable in the audiobook. I will say really cool. I was checking the audiobook because they do the narrator does like a lot of accents and I was like I should probably check like who read this and it is a oh, I can't remember her background, but she is an Asian um narrator, like she herself is, so it's not like inappropriate for her to be doing accents, which I was really concerned about. But she says all the words like correctly, which is really nice to hear because you know in your head when you read Hermione, it was like Hermione.
Sure, when I thought Penelope was Penelope for years,
Yes.
and I thought it was so pretty.
Oh. Oh, both versions so pretty. Yeah, but it is it's a really good story. It's got she and her friend like go up to the palace in the sky and like so you get a lot of like family interactions and a lot of friend interactions which are really nice and it's a very you hear a lot of like the main character's internal thoughts and it's really cool. They go into like they're in a new world, so it's completely um new setting and everything like that. So it's really good and I'm looking forward to it getting to the possible Hunger Games slash Eurovision part.
Yeah, you might need to update us on that as
I
well.
will.
Those are two very different possibilities.
Yeah, which is like I think yours is more likely based on like how it's being written already. Like I can't see it being
Vicious.
um yeah, vicious. Yeah. We'll see though.
You never know.
Hmm.
Okay. My rec is coincidentally also one that I've not quite yet finished. I'm still in progress. And it is called The Black Tides of Heaven. And it's book one in the Tensorite series. There's 4 books, I believe, in the series by the author Neon Yang. And what is kind of neat, apparently, is that like there's the 4 books in the series, and 2, you can read either one of them as book one,
Oh.
basically, like in either order, whichever, which is fun. So I picked this one because it sounded like appealed to me a bit more. So I read this one first. Okay. So Makoya and Akia, the twin children of the protector, were sold to the Grand Monastery as children. When Makoya developed her strange prophetic gift, Akia was always the one who could see the strings that moved adults to action. While his sister received visions of what would be, Akia realized what could be. What's more, he saw the sickness at the heart of his mother's protectorate. A rebellion is growing. The machinists maybe
Yep.
discover new levers to move the world every day, while the Tensors fight to put them down and preserve the power of the state. Unwilling to continue to play a pawn in his mother's twisted schemes, Akia leaves the Tensor behind and falls in with the rebels. But with every step Akia takes towards the machinists is a step away from his sister Makoya. Can Akia find peace without shattering the bond he shares with his twin sister?
Ooh, twins.
Twins. It's really like incredibly lived in feeling sort of world. Like it starts with the like before the twins are born or just they've just been born, and it starts with the what's the right word, the guy who runs the Grand Monastery. Him, that guy, anyway, and he has to go up and see the protectorate to fulfill their deal, and there's like 800 stone steps for him to climb.
That's a lot of
It's
steps.
a lot of steps, and it's just like funny because it's him being like, oh, I'm getting too old for this. And kind of just like reflecting on what brought him here as he's physically like on this journey. I don't know. It's quite good. There's really interesting stuff going on with gender. Like children in this world are just not gendered. They're just they. And then when they reach a certain age, then they pick which one they want. And that's
Cool.
what they are moving forward. Um, yeah, and there's all sorts of like the magic system seems really interesting. It's like a mixture of like combining elements of the natural world together, and yeah, just lots going on. I've heard I read that this genre is called silk punk.
Oh, so is it silk punk because it's not like European slash Western?
Yes,
Oh, I
right.
like that.
Yes, it's
So
possible some other ones that we have mentioned are also classified as silk punk,
silk
but I
punk.
found it in regards to this one in particular.
So steampunk is steam powered objects, a lot of gears, a lot of
Gears.
goggles.
Mhm.
Silk punk, what are they like? Is it based on just because it's like the same vibe, or like do they use silk to power their machines?
It's okay. Author Ken Liu invented the term silk punk to describe the genre of his latest novel. What a flex.
Good for him.
Just be like, I'm going to invent this whole genre
This is
just
silk
for my
punk.
book. This is what I'm doing. Anyway, okay. He defines it as a blend of science fiction and fantasy, drawing inspiration from classical East Asian antiquity.
Okay. So it's more just like, yeah, it's more I get it. It's not specifically referring to they're using silk to power things like
No,
steampunk is.
no.
It's like steampunk but Asian.
Yeah, it's not quite, but it's yeah, inspired by East Asian antiquity.
That
Does
is so
not
cool.
Yeah, does not apply to every science fiction or fantasy story inspired by Asian history or culture. Yeah,
It's a vibe.
yeah, yeah. But so that was kind of fun.
That is
Yeah, and
cool.
it is, and they're all so they're all novellas, but I will say that they're as long as some other novels I've been reading lately. So it depends what you call a novella. But and yeah, I believe the entire series is out for this one as well. All
Nice.
4 books.
So you said you can read The Red Threads of Fortune or this one
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
Hmm.
and then because I was curious, it appears that the Red Threads of Fortune picks up like after this one,
Oh,
or
interesting.
takes place later in the lives of the twins.
Interesting. Does one follow the other twin?
I not really. It seems like it's both of them again. So you would think it would
Hmm.
make more sense to read one when they're younger and then the one when they're older, but apparently you don't have to.
Prequel sequel
Apparently,
situation.
they fit together either way. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds really cool. I like your recommendation better than mine.
Well, you're welcome to read it next.
I
It will
might
be
have to.
it will be available very soon. I
Tell you
do
what.
like I
Hmm.
do like some creepy twins, you know.
You do.
Some twins with some creepy bond going on. I'm into
Yeah.
that.
Tell you what, I'll read the Red Threads of Fortune first and then read
Okay.
the other one and we can compare our
We
thoughts and
can
feelings.
compare the experience. Yeah. Okay.
And I think that wraps us all up. So
It
I will
does.
do our final goodbyes. Thank you once again for watching. Read this next. Make sure to follow us on all social medias at TBAPL. Like, follow, subscribe, rate our podcast so people can find it. It makes it a lot easier. And yeah, show notes at www.tbplofftheshelf.com. And we'll see you all next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye bye.